Hi guys, and welcome back to the Motor Department. In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how much it costs me to own my 2025 Suzuki Jimny for over 15 months now. I'm gonna tell you, is it worth it to buy used or do you better buy new? Also, I'm gonna tell you the financing cost, the taxes, the maintenance of course, rust protection, and all the modifications that I did to the car. But before I go into all these details, I want to tell you an important information about this Suzuki Jimny. This is sadly one of the last 900 ever sold here in Europe. Because of the strong Europe regulations on CO2, sadly Suzuki cannot sell this car anymore. But I still bought this one brand new from the dealership for under 30k. This is a really good deal. Now let us dive in and see how I bought this car, what was my journey, what were the total costs, and is it worth it? But how did I came to buy the Jimny? You see, I'm a video journalist, so I travel a lot. I have to carry a lot of gear, I have to be fast, and I have to be mobile. And my first car, which I drove before the Jimny, was a Ford car. This is the smallest Ford you can buy. And of course, it's a little bit of a girly car. It was like baby blue, but it didn't matter to me. It was my first car. It was awesome. I drove it for, I think, 6 or 7 years, and it really helped me well. But the most important thing as a video journalist is that you have a reliable car. Because you have to be agile, you have to be fast, and most importantly, you have to be on time. Because if there's a press conference, if there's something happening, you have to be there fast, quick, and you have to be flexible because you need to park anywhere fast, you have to carry a lot of stuff, and sometimes you really have to get to strange and weird places. I had to get into forests, drive some trails, I had to cover a flooding here in Germany where I have to drive through water, where you don't really know how deep is it, but I have to go there. You have to get in the mountains maybe. You have to drive even when the weather is really bad and there's snow chaos on the roads. You have to be able to still get to a destination because there's so much snow and chaos, and I have to cover that. But let's see, why did I even make a decision to buy a new car, and why didn't I just keep my old car, which seems to treated me well for the past years? The biggest thing that happened was when I drove back from work in summer. It was like 35 degrees, a really hot day, and I was stuck in traffic on the Autobahn. My car, the water started to overheat. So the old car did not have an oil temperature gauge, only a water temperature gauge, and it started to overheat when I was standing still, and when I was start to drive, it cooled off again. And I was a little bit panicking because I was like, oh no, if the oil gets too hot, this whole engine is gonna blow or get damaged really badly. It turned out that the thermostat was broken and I replaced it, and then everything was fine again. But then also I made the TÜV, which is the MOT in Britain, I think, where the whole car gets checked up to be legal on the road. And it just got the TÜV approved because there was something with the steering column or something that needed to be replaced because it was like a little bit unsafe, and it would be like 800 euros, and I think the whole car after it was scratched and everything maybe was worth about 1,000 euros in total. So it was like a really rundown car. And this is when I decided for myself, okay, maybe I need to look to buy a new car because this one isn't reliable anymore. It will cost me a lot of money to maintain. And this is when I started to look, okay, what car am I going to buy? What car is really fitting my requirements as a car for me as a video journalist? The most important thing for me is that the car is small, so I can find good parking spaces in cities, and it needs to be agile and fast. And I do not mean fast in a way that I can drive 200 kilometers an hour or something. It needs to be fast in every situation. Just like a Swiss Army knife, it needs to help me in every situation and just be flexible enough. I need to put all my gear in the back, my tripod, my camera equipment, lenses, lights, all this stuff. And even then, it needs to be relatively cheap in price, so that I do not overstretch myself financially. I drove on the Autobahn here in Germany, and then a Jimny drove past me and I was like, oh wait, this car exists, because I totally forgot. You see them quite rarely here in Germany. And I was like, oh, this might be a nice car because it's small. I remembered, yeah, it costs only like 18,000 euros, maybe 20,000. It's small, I can pack a lot in the back, and most importantly, I can go anywhere because it's an off-road car. I can drive through water, I can drive on trails, I can do little adventures if I want. And this was a point where I was like, okay, let's research this car, let's see what I can do. And then I realized, oh my God, this car is no longer sold here in Europe. There are only one last special edition, the Horizon edition, left to buy new. It's only limited to 900 pieces. This is when I started to call Suzuki dealerships in my area, and they were like, no, we don't even know if we get a new Jimny. And it sounded like buying a Rolex, you know? You get to the Rolex dealer and they say, no, we don't know what model we get. And when we get this model, you have to get on a waiting list. And I was like, this is crazy for a Suzuki. And so I called many dealers, and there was one dealer where I could test drive the car. And now I will tell you my first impressions while driving the car, what I noticed and what I liked and don't liked while I drove the car for the first time. My first impressions while driving the Jimny were that this car is very unique and has so much quirks that it's fun, really. I sit higher than in my older car, but I still feel that the car is light. And also the suspension is so soft that when you do this, the whole car is wobbling from side to side. So you don't really feel much confidence from the car or safety, but I think it's all right. Also, for me, it was not an issue that the Jimny is only the truck version, because there are no rear seats in this anymore. In my old car, I deleted the rear seats anyway because I wanted to have more space in the back for all my equipment. And I realized over all these years that I drove my old car, I really never, maybe once, needed a third seat because someone wanted to drive with me. Usually I only drive with one passenger and that's it. And if we want to go on vacation or on vacation with friends, everybody else has cars with enough seats, so it's not an issue for me. On the other hand, because this car is a truck here in Germany, for my business, I get a tax reduction, so it costs less money for me, which is also a plus. When I counted all these things together, I realized, okay, this might be the car. Because what was very strange for me is that this car is the same size as my old Ford car, but this car looks much bigger because I think it's more angular and the Ford car is more egg-shaped. And so even when you sit inside the car, this feels bigger, but it's not. It's nearly the exact same size. Of course, it's higher, but the width and the depth of this car is exactly the same. So I was like, okay, this is amazing for finding parking spaces. And it has all the good things that my old car has, but is cooler, is more fun, is more capable off-road, of course, so in tougher terrain. And it's new and much more reliable at this point than my old car was after all these years. But let's get into the numbers. How much did I buy this car for exactly? How much is the financing? How much are the taxes and everything else? So it happened. I finally found the dealer that made me a good price, under 30K, for the Jimny, and we made a financing deal. He couldn't tell me exactly when the car will arrive, but he knew that he will get one straight from Japan. And so we closed the deal under 30K, so 29,500 for the Jimny, brand new. And I did a down payment for 10,000 euros. And the deal was that I will pay for 36 months, 600 euros, and then no payment at the end. So the whole credit is costing around 1,700 euros for me. This is all the interest, because I did a big down payment for 33% or 35%, nothing at the end, and only for 3 years. So this was for me a deal, okay, I can finance only 1,700 euros. For me, the interest is even tax deductible, so it was a no-brainer for me. There were also a good deal, which I was completely shocked by, because for only 230 euro, once at the beginning, I can extend my guarantee from 2 years to 5 years, which I was like, is a complete no-brainer, because I do drive the car a lot and I want a reliable car. And for once 230 euros, I was like, yes, of course we do it. One-time payment. And so the total cost for the registration, number plate, everything that the dealer does with the extended guarantee was 409 euros. But after I paid over 10,000 euros for the car, down payment, everything, I still had to wait to get the car, because it wasn't there, it wasn't even produced, and I didn't know when the car will arrive. After 2 months of waiting, I finally got the call from the dealership. Hey, the Jimny is here, you can come and pick it up. So this is, of course, the thing I did. And now I want first to tell you all the costs that I had around the Jimny that I really had to do until now, as I mentioned, 1 year and 3 months later. So I made a list, very important, where I wrote everything down. So I paid 10,000 euros as down payment. Then I paid 409 euros for the extended warranty and the registration. Then I paid 600 euros a month for the payments of the car, of course, for 15 months. Then I pay for a year 90 euros in taxes, which is awesome, quite cheap because it's a truck. The insurance of the car for me is 600 euros, but it's only the insurance you have to do here. So I am not covered if the car gets damaged in any way, is stolen, burning down or anything, because for me it was way too expensive for the cost of the car. So I only have standard insurance, 600 euros. Then after I drove 1,000 kilometers and the engine was brand new, I did a checkup, I did an oil change, and this cost me 120 euros at the dealership. Because I got the car in October, winter was standing in front of the door. And the problem is that the standard tires that came with the Jimny are all-terrain, but they have not the important little sign for Europe here that is a snowflake, that we can drive these tires legally in winter. So I had to get extra winter tires. So I bought new rubber, only the rubber, and then the dealership pulled the old rubber off the rims, the new rubber on the rims, and this cost me in total of 630 euros. Then after the winter, the summer came and I had to put the summer tires back on. So again, they had to put the winter rubber off the rims, the summer rubber on, and this cost me 126 euros. Then, while I was off-road driving in an off-road park, I lost the little cover cap from the rear tow hook, and this one cost me 6.70 euros. After the first year, of course, I had to do my first service, because if I want to have my guarantee, I cannot do stuff myself. The dealership has to do everything. So I spent 284 euros for the first service. Then the next winter arrived and I was thinking to myself, okay, every time to pay the dealership to put the rubber off the rims, then back on the rims again 2 times a year is getting quite expensive. Also is not as good for the rubber itself and for the rims. And then I thought maybe it's cheaper to buy an extra set of rims, and in the future I can change them myself and don't have to pay anything anymore. So I found someone who sold a whole set of rims with the reels, and most importantly, we have a tire pressure sensor inside and you need to have it in the car. And this guy sold me a whole set with winter rubber, rims, and the pressure sensors for 200 euros. So I bought this, and then I got to the dealership because there were already snow on the roads, and they changed it for 35 euros. And so if we add all this together, which is just the things that I had to do, not the fun stuff, no modifications and everything, the total cost that I had to pay to own this car for the first 15 months is 21,647 euro. One thing that was really important for me, but is quite a big investment, is rust protection. I did it the first day I got the car, so I didn't even had 100 kilometers on the clock. But this cost me 2,000 euros. So in comparison to the whole cost of the car, it's quite expensive. But for me, it's a good investment, because if I can drive this car 10 years, 15 years longer, because the frame does not rust, which is a huge problem, especially here in Europe on salty roads and wet weather with the Jimnys, I think it's a good investment to do right from the beginning. And also, I didn't only do the rust protection once, but 3 times. So one time, as I mentioned, 2,000 euros. But then I went to the off-road park 2 times in total. And there I really scratched the bottom of the frame and the transmission case and everything. And then I had to redo a little bit on these small spots, the rust protection. And this cost me 60 euros and then again 95 euros. So if I put this into the equation, I get 23,829 euros of costs, including the rust protection, which for me is very important. But let's do a quick rundown of all the mods that I did and how much they cost. I don't want to explain too much because I think this will take too long. So let's add everything up. I did the rear taillights, 400 euros. I did the sound system, 600 euros. I did the radio, which is 138 euros plus an adapter, which is 34 euros. I also bought some storage space. So for the doors, I bought 2 little pockets. These were 10 euros. For my center console in the middle, I bought something to put stuff in. This was 20 euros. I bought for the radio on top, under the windscreen, a little holder where I can put CDs, for example, on my phone. This was 16 euros. I bought a armrest where I can put stuff in as well. This was 56 euros. And I bought little USB-C charging cables for my phone. These were 10 euros. Also for the back, I bought an organizer where I can put all my camera gear, my cables, my lenses and everything. And this cost me 40 euros. Then I bought a rubber mat for my trunk so stuff doesn't fall around or slide around when I drive the car. This one was 17 euros. Also, I bought a jerry can. This was 45 euros, so I can get extended range if I need so. I also bought 2 little hammers where I can smash glass in an emergency if I need to. These were 8 euros. I also bought a big towing rope when I get bogged down or someone else gets bogged down, so we can pull each other out. And it also was used the first time in the off-road park. This one cost me 30 euros. When we combine all the extra stuff, which is 1,635 euros, all the mods that I did to the car, and combine them with all the other stuff we did before, we come to a total cost of 25,481 euros of costs. But of course, we cannot forget one very important and big expense, and this is the fuel. In my case, I drive quite a lot of Autobahn in the city. It's quite mixed actually. And I realized on summer tires, I have a fuel consumption of 6.5 liters in 100 kilometers. But on winter tires, in winter, I have 7.5 liters. I don't really know what's the play here, but I think that the winter tires have much more grip and are much softer and therefore much more traction and friction, and therefore the Jimny has to work harder. So I would say half the year winter, half the year summer, I have a fuel consumption of 7 liters per 100 kilometers. in the first 1 year and 3 months until now, I drove 26,000 kilometers. So if I add all this up, I consumed 1,820 liters of fuel, which is crazy if you think about it. And the median cost of fuel here in Germany is €1.70. So if we add this together, the fuel cost for me to drive these 26,000 kilometers were €3,094. If I now add the fuel cost to the rest of the cost, I get €28,575. Total cost owning the car for 1 year and 3 months, driving 26,000 kilometers. But is it worth it? Do you think it's worth it? My opinion for me is, yes, it is worth it. Because what you have to think about is that this car holds its value very well. As I mentioned before, earlier in the video, this car is selling used for 25 to 27,000 euros with 50, 60,000 kilometers. The money I invested in this car right now will retain the value very well. The good thing is that the more years I drive the car and the more kilometers I drive the car, these costs will spread out over the years, and maybe after 10 years, 15 years, this car will have cost me not so much money as other cars would have. The big bonus with Suzuki is the cheap cost of maintenance, because the oil change after the years I can do myself easily, the tires I can change easily myself, and even if you have spare parts, if something breaks, it's not as expensive as a BMW, Mercedes or something else. So in the long run, I think this car really will earn its value and the money I paid for it. And the thing is that you have to decide for yourself, how much does the Jimny cost in your country? Of course, the USA, for example, you guys do not even have the opportunity to buy this car. Maybe in 25 years or now maybe 20 years you can import it from Japan, or you can import it from Mexico maybe. But I really believe that this car can get you a good value, because you can go anywhere. It's small, it's cool, it's fun, it's easy to maintain, it's cheap to maintain. And if you do the rust protection properly at the beginning and take care of your car, do the oil change every year, maybe twice every year, then you can use this car for maybe 10, 20 or 30 years, and then the total cost will be very worth it. But what do you guys think? Leave your comment down below in the comment section. Do you own a Jimny? Do you maybe want to buy a Jimny? How much is a Jimny to buy in your country? Or is it even possible to buy a Jimny in your country? And I want to thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers that we've reached a few days ago. It's really fun to interact with you guys, see your comments, write comments, share opinions, and it's beautiful to see how much this community has grown in this short period of time. So write down in the comments what you want to see, what you're excited about, and leave feedback. And I'll see you guys in the next one.